Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Reverend Champion Fleming. I'm the Minister of Organizational Development here at the Center for Spiritual Living White Rock. We are an inclusive learning center of practical spirituality based on the White Rock, South Surrey area of British Columbia, Canada. This is a place for your whole heart, your whole being. And as we were talking this morning, that we are just on a path to become more ourselves. We hope that you will find refuge here, that you may discover spiritual truth that uplifts and inspires you. And we hold the ideal of joining together to creating a world that works for all. And as we begin our gathering today, I respectfully acknowledge that I live and work on the traditional unceded territory of the Chochenyo Ohlone. It's important for me to look to the past to see what was important, to see what happened for the Ohlone people, but also to engage in their movement now. And to lift and know what's important to folks now. So now let's just ground in our time together in truth and spirit. And I invite you to go to that place within where you connect to that divine presence. And so, right here and now, as we fully arrive in this present moment, we know in this moment, spirit is. That there is one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence, one source of all truth, wisdom, love, and knowing that we are all created by this power and presence, that in a moment of brilliance, each one of us was brought into form. And this love, this power, this harmony, order, everything that this spirit is, this presence is, everything that the divine is in each one of us. It was born into us as we came into this incarnation in these bodies. It is undeniable. It is the thing that guides us and directs us. It's the thing that goes before us and makes the way clear, as if we had our own Zamboni smoothing the ice. I know that it walks alongside each one of us and it comes up behind us. In fact, we are fully surrounded in the grace and love of the divine. That there is no power greater than this. There is no truth other than this. And that we come together in this service, knowing this truth, the inevitability of it, the divine law of it, that we are each the perfect expression of this thing that you may call spirit or universe or divine or God. It is in this moment that each one of us is breathed and expresses a willingness to be breathed. And in that breath, all the force of the divine, the vastness of it, the infinity of it, knowing that it's so much more than we can express in words. We marshal all of it to be in this moment, in this service with us. And so I'm giving thanks for this gathering, this coming together to commune on the love and power and grace of the divine. I give thanks for everything that came before this moment that allowed us all to be here together now. I give thanks for answered prayer. I give thanks for the word being spoken through our speaker today, Tamara Rossander. I give thanks for the music of Nathan. I give thanks for all of it. And I release this word. I let go, I let God, I let it be, and so it is. So, thank you for being here. We are also really pleased that our musician today is the multi talented Nathan Aswell. He believes that his calling in life is to encourage people to live big lives, one small step at a time. It's no doubt Nathan will have us stepping, tapping our toes with a joyous beat and an uplifting energy with his heartfelt and inspirational lyrics. Please join me in welcoming Nathan Aswell.
Thank you so much, Reverend Champion, and thank you so much for including the word Zamboni in a Sunday service. How Canadian are we? Here we go, everybody. This is a song of mine I'm sure you've all heard before. It's called The Making of a Soul, and the chorus is very simple. So when you feel comfortable, please join in. Here we go. The making of a soul, the making of a soul. I'm busy with the making of a soul. I've come as a magician and an ordinary man to make a contribution and be part of the plan. There is no destination, the journey is the goal. I'm busy with the making of a soul. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Busy with the making of a soul. Part of me's an artist, part of me's a fool. I have no map to guide me, there is no book of rules. The only thing that's certain is joy will lead me home. I'm busy with the making of a soul. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Busy with the making of a soul. Sing with me. The making of a soul, the making of a soul. I'm busy with the making of a soul. Lurking in my shadow are things I must reclaim. I call them out into the light and give each one a name. 'Cause everyone's a mirror that helps to make me whole. I'm busy with the making of a soul. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Busy with the making of a soul. One more time. The making of a soul, the making of a soul. I'm busy with the making of a soul. I'm part of God unfolding. I trust and fully give. All that really matters is that while I live, my gifts are what is needed. The universe is home. I'm busy with the making of a soul. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Busy with the making of a soul. The making of a soul, the making of a soul. I'm busy with the making of a soul. Last time. The making of a soul, the making of a soul. I'm busy with the making of a soul.
Wow, beautiful, Nathan. Thank you. And I think that today we are being guided home to self, the big self, the divine self. And thank you, Diane, for that beautiful meditation. You know, it's so powerful for us to come together and to go into that deep space together, into that divine space communally. You might not be your first choice of something to do on a Sunday morning to meditate, but um, to me, it just feels so powerful for us to go in together and be in this space together. So we offer all of these different ways on this Sunday morning for us to come together and access that internal sacred space within ourselves. And the next opportunity is our talk for today. Um, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Tamara Rossander, who's a licensed practitioner here at CSL White Rock. She's also a ministerial school student at the School for Spiritual Leadership, which is the Centers for Spiritual Living school. Tamara's main purpose in life is to help people remember how truly remarkable they really are and to fall in love with themselves again and again. And so Tamara walks with people on their path. She helps them open their hearts and expand their lives and transform the world. Her highest directive is to create space for divine love to show up in the world. So please join me in welcoming Tamara Rossander.
Thank you so much, Reverend Champion. What a beautiful introduction. Whew. Hope I can live up to that there. It's so good. I just want to take a moment, though, to acknowledge that I work and live on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish First Nations, including Semiahmoo, Katsi, Tsawwassen, Stolo, Kwantlen, and Wasanic nations. I honor and respect the people who lived here before us and continue to live here now. Oh, as I just take a breath and step into that honoring of the people that are here before us and are here with us now. So I was really excited when Reverend Cassandra asked me to do the talk today, because it's really about one of my favorite topics, stepping up and stepping out, and to be determined. So there's a little bit of a story behind the talk title today. So when Reverend Cassandra asked me to do this talk, she sent me the topic and a little bit of a blurb, because it's part of our monthly global themes. And so what I didn't realize is that she had put stepping up, stepping out, or to be determined was actually to be determined by me, whether that was the name of the title that I wanted or not. So, but for some reason, I glitched, didn't catch that, made up all the social media with that. And then she checked in with me last week and said, Tamara, is this really what you wanted as the title? And I'm like, yeah, isn't that supposed to be it? And she said, well, it didn't have to have the to be determined on it. And I was like, oh, but then I thought, you know what? No, leave it, because it's perfect. Because stepping up and stepping out is to be determined by each one of us. It is our choices that we make every single day that get us out of that comfort zone, that move us beyond where we are and what we think is going to happen in the next moment or here. So I love that to be determined, because really I'm in control of my life. And if I just slow down and listen and take that moment, then I know that I will be divinely guided, as each of you can be divinely guided throughout. So I was thinking a few different things to talk about today, and there's so much in this topic, stepping up and stepping out. And two, sometimes we think, oh my goodness, it's got to be something really big. If I got to step out, like what is that going to look like? I mean, it can be really scary to step out of the life that we've got right now and to expand it. But I think too, it can be those small little things that we do every day. It can be that one act of kindness that can change somebody else's life. It can be the one act of showing up in compassion for someone else, someone that you haven't spoken to for a while, or someone who is hurting at this moment. I mean, through this time of COVID, which I'm actually renaming BC, as there was before COVID and now after COVID. Instead, anyways, I find myself digressing. But it's this time of life that it can be full of grief, for mourning of what was and stepping into what is. What is next for us? What is that next piece of life? What is the thing that I want to do next? You know, if from science of mind point of view, we think about that nothing sounds easier than changing your thinking, change your life. And nothing can be more frightening. But in the science of mind teaching, we don't deny that conditions exist. We deny that they have to continue. And yet we can stay comfortable in our discontent rather than stepping out and being that which we're called to be. Each of us has a unique purpose that no other person on this planet can fulfill. And if we choose to ignore that purpose, to live small, not only are we missing out, but the world is missing out. And sometimes I think, okay, where can I start? Where can I start stepping up and stepping out and thinking of that small thing? So I've been reading a book by one of my favorite artists, Flora Bowley. And what she talks about is the art of being alive. But in her second chapter, she says to us, what is it in your life that's working? What in your life is working right now? And focus on what is working rather than what isn't working. And it's so easy for us to be caught in that spiral of, oh my goodness, I'm not doing this right, or I'm not doing that right. Even this morning, I made a misstep and I misspoke in something. And you know what? I could kind of shut myself down and shrink back from that, or I can step into it and go, okay, this is an opportunity for me to learn. This is an opportunity for me to drop into my heart and realize that things are harder out there than I realize. That there are people that just are walking through and it's hard for them every day. So stepping into that, stepping out and acknowledging that, okay, I made a mistake, but now it's time to course correct. I'm going to course correct back and I'll be more aware next time. So I think I go back to Flora again and think back, what is working in my life? Where am I doing those things that I love? Where am I taking those moments that really are meaningful to me? So when I was thinking about that, and she also says, maybe ask the question a little differently too, because maybe what is working in your life, you might think, well, there's nothing working in my life right now. Like, it's COVID. Come on, Tamara. But maybe ask it in a way of what brings you joy? What is it that makes you feel more alive? And the other question she asked is, or what is it that gives you a hell yes? So I was thinking about that, and it brought back to mind a time I've talked to you all about doing the different programs through what was excellent seminars. And I was in a program room I was assisting at the back of the room, and the instructor, Darren, had said to me, he goes, we're here to help everybody to make shifts in their lives, but what is your hell yeah? And I looked at him and I went, Darren, I don't do hell yeah. Hell yes. No, that's not me. But then he looked at me and he said, really? And I had to stop myself for a second. And I was like, oh, where am I keeping myself that small? Where am I stopping myself from stepping into what I know is important, stepping into what I know is what I'm here to do? So I had to think about that, and I realized, yeah, I was keeping myself pretty small. So going back to Flora, this was my first experience of her. After that course, I signed myself up, did my first solo trip, packed up my car, went to Portland, and took an art class. Okay. All my whole life, I was always told, oh, you can't be an artist. You can't do this. Those are horrible. Those little stick people. And that was embedded. And let me tell you, I beat myself up probably more times than not about how that I was not creative. And yet, so stepping out from me was being creative and showing. And I love painting. My paintings might show up in any art gallery, but that's okay. It's the joy that I get from doing it. So what I was thinking about too is that Joseph Campbell says that we must be willing to let go of the life we planned, to live the life that is waiting for us. Now, that is our own hero's journey. We're each on that path. And we have that spiritual principle of freedom that is everyone's birthright. That for every individual, we're free to create our experience in life. So I was living in this box of my own making, and I needed to step outside of it. And I'm found that I'm doing this talk is definitely outside of my box. I have to tell you. And then, it even started with being a practitioner, next going on to be a minister. I've had my family of origin say to me, why are you doing this? Nobody else in our family does this. And I'm like, yep, I know. But it is something, it is that divine wisdom that when I stop and I listen, that comes to me and says, Tamara, go forward, go forward. So that's what I do. And, I was talking with, I was taking a class yesterday on accounting. Oh, yeah, not one of my favorite ones, even though I was a banker for 23 years before this, but hey. But Reverend Doug Craig said to us, goes, what makes your heart sing? What makes your heart sing? Do that. Do that. Follow that thread through everything we can go through. As we begin this journey, we step out into the unknown. And what do we want to bring with us? And then we also sometimes have to ask ourselves, what are we willing to leave behind? We've all been cast to play a part in this thing called life since our first breath. Our soul continually calls to us to be brave, to step up regardless of what others say or think. It's our time. So, I encourage you to ask yourself, if I was living my life fully, what would I be doing? If I was living myself fully, living my life fully, what would I be doing? And then do it. Marianne Williamson says, each of us has a unique part to play in the healing of the world. Now is the time to heal this world. There's so many times we hear that saying that hurt people, but there's the flip side of it. There's the flip side, and that is healed people heal people. And when I focus more on that thought, that is in my consciousness, and I put that into the energy out into the world, that heal people heal people. then I know that I'm on that path. And what a great viewpoint to look at it, rather than thinking that everything is negative, that all those hurt people, everything we're doing. But if we start looking at it, if we shift, we take that step into a new way of looking at things. Thich Nhat Hanh says, enlightenment for a wave in the ocean is the moment the wave realizes it's water. But when we realize we're not separate, but part of a huge ocean of everything, we become enlightened. And we realize this through practice. And when we remain awake and aware of this through more practice and more practice, as we step out of our comfort zone and step into our spiritual awakening, it's good to remember that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. Michael Singer has a great, in his book, Untethered Soul, he has a great little tip to help us to remember that, to remember to dive into that piece of space, that nothingness. So when you find that maybe that monkey chatter, that negative is going on inside of you, that you take a breath and you say, hello, hello, hello. And you'll notice it'll bring your anxiety down. And there may be a space, that little space that you can listen to what God wants you to do. Or you know what? Ask God a question. As Diane asked that question today, which was so perfect and for this talk. It was such a beautiful meditation. Thank you, Diane. But yeah, you can ask God a question at any time and know that you know that you know. That divine wisdom is there within you at all times. You know, science of mind teachings are a perfect roadmap for our spiritual, emotional, physical, and financial awakening. We are an integral part of the creative process. Every person has a story that they can tell about how these teachings have changed their life. I know when I walked into the center, I think it was 2012, and I heard Reverend Terry at the time, and I went, oh my goodness, I'm finally home. I understand this is that bigger version of God that I've been looking for. This is knowing that truth of that I am one with that one, that I am there, that I don't need to be separate from everything. It is there in that space that I can create that peace and harmony that I so crave in my heart. So it's the time to share our good in the world. Be strong in our conviction and stronger in our faith. You know, Ernest Holmes says, I'm sorry, I'm just going to read this. We must climb over the rocks of unbelief, pass around the barriers of doubt, and plunge into the stream of faith. Plunge into the stream of faith. Have that faith of God. So it's time to step out of our comfort zone and step up into what we have come here to do, what we have come here to be. That is the goal. We want to be that peace and harmony in the world. Because if I show up there in that peace and harmony of the world, it changes things around me. It's the same as when I love myself first. It's not the ego-based loving yourself. It's that knowing that I am divine, that I am one with that one. So when I love myself from that space, It is easier for me to go out and love others and have that compassion and realize that life may be hard for others in ways that I have no idea. Ways that I have no idea. But I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to step up. And I'm willing to step out. And again, those stepping out can be small things. Maybe you reach out to Reverend Cassandra and say, hey, how can I volunteer? How can I help out the center? What can I do? Maybe it's taking a class. I think I'm running short on time here, so I better wrap it up. So in conclusion, what I want to say, in Brene Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness, she uses the acronym BRAVING. So she sets boundaries, set and hold and respect those boundaries. Reliability, learn to say what you mean and mean what you say. Accountability, step up and be accountable. Take responsibility and issue meaningful apologies when you're wrong. Vault, keeping confidences. Recognize what is ours to share and what's not. Integrity, practice your values even when it's difficult and hard. Non-judgment, give and receive help. And generosity, learn how to be generous in our assumptions about others. So this is my year to live courageously. So what I ask you today is, how brave are you willing to be to step out and step up into your magnificence? So as I take this moment and breathe in all that energy and is flowing through me right now, knowing that there's one life, one love, one divine wisdom that operates in, through, and all. It is in each of us. It is our time to know this truth for ourselves, to fall back in love and know that we are whole, perfect, and complete right here, right now, in this present moment. And the gift that we have is to be present right here, right now, in this moment. Knowing that if I love myself, I can heal. And when I heal, others heal. It is the ripple effect, as we are all connected. So today I claim this joy, this excitement, this exuberance of stepping up and stepping out, knowing that I can shine brightly, as each of you here today can shine brightly. Knowing that we can tell ourselves stories and hold those as truth, or we can release them, release the fear, and just tune in. Tune in and say hello to that inner wisdom, that inner guidance, knowing that truth. Knowing that I am love expressed in this moment. It is with great gratitude that I speak these words from my heart, that I am here with this beloved community of CSL White Rock, knowing that we are each taking a step to live our fullest, richest lives as God intended, as freedom is our birthright for every individual. So knowing this truth, I release these words to the law, knowing that right action is happening right here, right now. And I release these words to say, and so it is.